Hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for November 18th, 2025. I'm your host, Gary Smith. On today's show, we have a lot to cover because it's playoff time. And Coach, as we were talking a little bit before, this is what, the time of year you're playing for from the beginning of August to now to get that chance to be one of the final 32 teams in the field.
Yeah, obviously extremely proud of our guys for the way they've battled and we've been in playoff mode for the last 3 weeks. We knew that we had to take care of business and went out to get in the field. But what an accomplishment for these guys. I think this is the 9th time in school history that California's made the playoffs, and for them to do it is commendable. It's a lot of work. And, I told the team on Sunday night at the selection show, and then I told them again yesterday, I'm not an easy guy to play for. Neither is my coaching staff. But the work that they've put in since August 10th is paid off for them. And now, everybody gets to reset, and everybody's 0-0, and we go play a good football team for 60 minutes and see where we're at.
And to make sure people hang around on the show until, to get the most amount of ratings we can. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show because before we get to Sunday night in the selection show, you had one final game at Shippensburg, and, there was a lot going on at Shippensburg. Coach Mack, longtime coach there, announced his retirement, senior day. The fact, their team wants to play spoiler. Of course, you have everything to play for. So there's a lot of things going on around that game. But I thought talking to my guys beforehand, California needed to survive that emotional first quarter and a half. And I thought your team really did because, there was a lot of emotion at the beginning of that game. And, just to get out there, get a score, and go into halftime with the 7-3 lead, I thought was a heck of an effort.
Yeah, first, congratulations to Coach Mack. He's been a friend of mine for a number of years. I know we talked about it last week. We played against each other, him being a nose tackle, me being a center. We actually talked about that in pregame. But congratulations to him. But I was happy with the way we started. I think we came out, we put a drive together offensively on our first possession. We got a stop on defense, put a drive together. We're up 7-0. And then we kind of hit a stall, and credit Shippensburg. We made some mental errors in the first half that we can't continue to make, and we talked about it on Monday when we watched the film. But just a good first half. I thought our defense really carried the action. They were able to move the balls, but we stiffened in the red zone. I know we, what we call our semi-team got a block kick, which was huge, and then we gave up. I probably screwed it up at the end of the half. We got the ball back, with exactly 2 minutes at the 2-minute warning. We had one timeout. I had saved one timeout, understanding if we needed to get the field goal team on or if we got caught, But we started a drive there, got down to probably inside the 30, went for it on fourth down and didn't get it. I should have probably managed that clock a little bit better. I put our defense in a bad situation. They ended up hitting a couple plays and going down and kicking a field goal, which I felt bad for our defense because they really dominated the first half. And to give up 3 points was probably something that I could have handled better in clock management. But okay, 7-3, we're at halftime. Let's go ahead and make adjustments. Let's talk to the guys and let's come out and play good football in the second half. And I thought we really did. We came out. We had deferred the opening kickoff. We got the ball. We went, I think, 3 plays, went down and scored. So I credit Coach Salisbury, Coach Orlowski, and the offensive coaches for adjustments and coming out with a good second half plan to go put points on the board. So we're up 14-3 at that point.
Yeah, 14-3 and rolling at that point. And like you said, that drive, it's a hallmark of your team. Usually the end of the first half, beginning of the second half. Those are, you can chalk those up to wins for California. And like I said, you just mentioned that drive, couple running plays, couple of passing plays, you're up, and then that really gets your defense going because that makes the other team one-dimensional.
Yeah, our defense has come along the last few weeks. I really like the way they're playing. I really like the way they're pressuring the quarterback and getting tackles for loss. I think we had 7 sacks on Saturday. So when you can get teams behind the chains and with some of the pass rushers and blitzes that we can bring, I thought that was the difference. And I really thought that they're at 14-3. I was like, all right, if we get the next score, then I feel like this one's over because I didn't think they'd be able to throw the ball to get back into it. And I believe we got the next score and created some turnovers. We got a turnover on special teams. We got a strip sack fumble. And the thing I was proud of the offense is they capitalized when we had opportunities. We got a strip sack fumble and put us in the red zone. The next play, Kendrick Aguilar breaks a run and scores. we have to punt later, I think in the fourth quarter. They muff the punt. The next play we score. So, good complementary team football. Defense and special teams creating turnovers, offense taking advantage of them. And it was nice to be able to, after all the one-score games this year, to be able to breathe on the sideline. The other nice thing is we got a lot of guys in the game. We were able to get a bunch of guys in the game. The NCAA has changed the rule that freshmen can play up to 4 games and still redshirt. So we had some guys on the trip that hadn't played and got to play their first college football game. So, good day for Vulcan football. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but
that's
fine. That's the way it goes this time of year.
Well, we'll put a bow on it. That's my favorite saying. 35-10 was the final score. Your team 168 yards rushing, 165 yards passing. And again, I've always said it seems like every coach wants to preach balance, and that's about as balanced as you can get for your offense.
Yeah, I think our run game's coming along. I think Kendrick Aguilar and Dejon Craigett are – the more reps they get, the better they're getting. Kendrick's done a really good job. He had a great yards per carry average. We probably didn't give him the ball enough. But both those guys did a nice job. And then credit the offensive line. I think our run game has really gotten better in the last couple of weeks. And the thing I'm happy with in all 3 phases, we talk every week, we chart our special teams. We felt like we dominated special teams. We created a turnover on our punt team. We blocked a field goal. Their longest kickoff return was 16 yards. It's something we've been working. I thought Andrew Gonzalez had a great day punting the football. With Deontay Williams back, people are kicking away for him. So, now we're starting average field position, I think, was the 30-yard line, which is good field position. So I felt like we dominated special teams, and I feel like we've gotten better every week. And as a coach, that's what you want this time of year. You want to be peaking at the right time.
So just some final individual numbers. Passing Roman Purcell getting the start Saturday, 18-31, 165 with 2 touchdowns, added a rushing touchdown. You mentioned Kendrick Aguilar, 12 carries, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then defensively, we've broken record. Linksey Sangster, 16 tackles, tackle for loss, a sack, and he was named the PSAC West Defensive Player of the Week. So that pretty much wraps up. Let's take a look at the highlights from Saturday, and we'll get to what everyone wants to talk about, the NCAA playoffs. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Purcell fakes the pitch, looking to go long. Hershey up top, able to make the grab. Extra effort, trying to dive for the end zone. Touchdown, California! Rowan Hershey. Oh, the kick is up, and the kick is blocked, and that one is definitely no good. And another block for this California special teams unit, the best in the country.
Purcell drops back, looking deep for Johnson, airs it out. Johnson able to make the catch for the touchdown. Deave Johnson over the shoulder. Purcell is going to keep it himself. Purcell has a lane and just waltzes his way in for the touchdown. Roman Purcell with the 4-yard scamper. Gunnels back to pass, under a bit of pressure, has to get away, but brought down almost instantly. Tawan Bandy in on the sack. And it looks like there was a fumble on the play, and Josh Huff comes up with the football. Rowan Hershey in motion for California, handoff to Aguilar. Aguilar finds the gap. Aguilar muscles his way in for the score. Kendrick Aguilar in for the touchdown. Gonzalez gets it off cleanly. Nice spiraling punt, takes a nice roll. It was touched by Neal, and California able to get on top of it. Aguilar able to stay on his feet, and Aguilar will just waltz his way in for the touchdown. Kendrick Aguilar with his 2nd touchdown of the day.
Kendrick Aguilar takes it 20.
The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference celebrates its 75th season in 2025 to 26, highlighting the many athletic achievements of its membership institutions. The PSAC has won 59 national team titles, 310 individual titles, produced 29 all-time Olympians, and 43 former PSAC players and coaches have been elected to National Halls of Fame. PSAC proud for 75 years and many more to come.
Hi, I'm Gene Sterator, CBS Rules analyst and longtime sports official. Today, mistreatment of officials has become normalized, and we are facing an abnormal future where no officials to hire means no games on the schedule. And the positive effects of athletic competition are at critical risk for this generation and those to come. Videos showing abusive treatment of officials multiply on social media. And there have been consequences for the dreadful behavior of players, fans, and coaches. Your response in the heat of the moment is the only thing you totally control. Move that desire to lash out to a different place and encourage without rage. Just cheer for your child or the team you're there to support.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. And you saw the highlights from Saturday, and we're going to talk about what everybody wants to talk about, the NCAA playoffs. But just to finally wrap up the PSAC, let's take one more look at the scoreboards from this weekend. California over Shippensburg 35-10. Edinburgh over Millersville 63-10. Assumption 42, Westchester 24. Lock Haven over Gannon 49-28, and I believe that's Lock Haven's first winning season since 1981. In the PSAC title game, Kutztown 28, IEP 23. Shepherd 21, Seton Hill 13, Slippery Rock losing to Bloomsburg 30-24, and then East Stroudsburg over Clarion 42-34. But Coach, after all those games are done on Saturday, you get back late Saturday, a little bit of time Sunday. You know the NCAA selection show is on at 6 o'clock. I think we all had a pretty good feeling that California is going to be in the top 8. Again, the NCAA expanding the regions to 8 teams this year. And I think this is the first year they've added automatic qualifiers, and we'll talk about that when we go through the bracket. So how to feel good about with the way your team played, your strength of schedule, that you're going to be in that top 8 mix. But just talk about, it's always got to be exciting once the fielders, finally revealed to see your name in the top 8.
Yeah, so felt really good about it. We were sitting in 5 last week and did what we needed to do. Really didn't see anybody that could jump us from behind. And I'm still a little snake bitten by 2022 when we were 10-1 and somehow didn't get in. But that's why we play the schedule. After 2022, that's why we scheduled Frostburg State. That's why we scheduled Charleston. It's easy for a lot of schools in our league to look for games they can win early in the year. We want to look for games that are going to challenge us and help our playoff resume. We got the team together and thankful for our administration. They gave me the go-ahead and the funds to get our team together and kind of celebrate the regular season, but find out where we're going. So we had a nice, family get-together at 6 o'clock here in the Student Center, and worked out well. Our guys were relaxed, and the only unfortunate thing was when they announced the bracket, we were the last team in that bracket. So, but then it's straight to work. Then it's coaching staff get to the office and start working on the film, and it's trying to put our guys in the best situation, in the best position to have success. But it was a good night. Was happy with the way the guys traveled back, and it's just a fun night to allow them to just breathe a little bit after 14 or 15 weeks of what they've done to kind of say, okay, let's recharge, let's reset. Everybody's 0-0. Let's get back to work.
And another change this year is the NCAA changed the regions up a little bit. GMAC is no longer in the Super Region 1, and the Super Region 1 welcomes the CIAA back in, and that's the opponent this week, CIAA runner-up Virginia Union, a team that California has never played in football, played them in a couple other sports. But just breaking it down, Coach, they're 9-2 overall, 7-0 in the division. They lost to Johnson C. Smith last week in their title game, 45-21. Before that, they were on an 8-game winning streak.
Sure.
And looking at the numbers, the thing that jumps out at me, and I'm sure it jumps out at everybody looking at numbers and coaching staff, teams averaging 311.5 yards a game. So I know you've been looking at film pretty much 24 hours a day, 3 days a week since Sunday when it came out. But let's talk a little bit about that offense. We know they're a good team and big up front, but what else do they bring on the offense?
I'll tell you, really well-coached football team. I think they like us last year, went to the regional finals and came up a little bit short, but really well-coached football team on both sides of the ball. They're going to run the ball. They got one of the premier tailbacks in the country, who's probably up for the Harlan Hill. They are going to run the ball. He's a big back, but he's elusive. Kind of reminds me of Najee Davenport for the Steelers had. He's nimble on his feet, but he's a powerful runner. So everything starts with their running game. Then they're going to get into play action shots when they get you committing to the run. They've got a good bootleg package. I think their quarterback's a really athletic guy, really tough kid that'll run the ball, will throw the ball. You can tell he's a competitor. Offensively, that's what they're going to do. They're really good at what they do. I think defense. I think they play complementary football. They're a base 4-2 down, base 4 down, 4-2 box. They're going to play quarters coverage. They're going to play man coverage on third downs. I think they try. They're not a huge blitz team or haven't shown to be a huge blitz team. They're going to keep everything in front of them, and they're going to try and shorten the game with their run game. But they've got some explosive athletes. They're extremely well coached. It's fun when you're playing somebody new, but it's also, I wouldn't mind Sunday night playing somebody we've played because it cuts your prep time down. But it's a good football team, and they play really well at home. So, we got to get out and play our best football.
And they're a team that also knows how to put points on the board, averaging 40.5 points a game. And you mentioned their running game. Curtis Allen, 276 carries, 2,281 yards, 29 touchdowns. And when I was getting those numbers, I had to make sure that it wasn't career numbers.
Stats.
Yeah,
no, that's this year's stats.
That's a heck of a season.
Yeah.
But also passing, like you said, R.J. Rosales, 93, 167, over 1,000 yards, 1,600 yards, and 14 touchdowns. So, again, that number jumps out, 311, but they can do different things.
Yeah, really efficient offensively, and like I said, it all starts with their run game, and then once they get you there, they've got some really good receivers that they're gonna run deep posts, deep overs. I think they play complementary football. I think it suits them well. Like I said, extremely well coached. Just an overall good football team. They got athletes on defense. They're probably the biggest front that we've played all year. I think their safeties are really good. I think their linebackers are really good. It's going to be a tough test, but we're going to have a good plan, and we're going to go down and compete for 60 minutes. And this time of year, I think we talked, and I'm sure their head coach, who I talked with this week, seems like a great guy. Is let's lean on the experience from last year. We don't like to look back much around here, but if it's something we can learn from, then we do. And we talked about, okay, let's revisit the East Stroudsburg game from a year ago, which was a one-score game, and we were down and came back and won. Let's revisit the Ashen game. It's going to be a close game, and you've got to make plays when opportunities arise. You got to do your job and let the plays come to you. So excited for our guys to go compete.
Like you said, it's a place we've never been for football before. It's about a 5-6 hour drive down to Richmond.
5 hours.
5 hours. It's going to be good weather. I think 61 degrees. I think there might be right now a chance of rain, but the couple times I've been to Richmond, it's never rained. So we're going to go on our prior experience. But definitely, I know you want to see a lot of red and black going down south.
Excited. Boy, listen, we could be going to Massachusetts or, one of those, we made that trip in what, I guess it was 17. Short drive down south for some better weather. You can get your Christmas shopping done over the weekend down south. And I know our families will travel well. I will tell you, I was really impressed at Shippensburg, the amount of parents and how our families travel, and then the alumni. We had some guys that I was surprised to see out there at Ship, and then I've had guys reach out. Sam Mannery, Hall of Famer, has reached out that he's making the trip. Vic Shandor, another Hall of Famer that I played with, wide receiver, is from Virginia. He's going to be there, so I know our alumni will be there. I'm sure Brendan Fulmer, he lives in Virginia. I'm sure he's going to be there. So we're gonna have all kinds of Hall of Famers. I might try and suit some of those guys up and sneak them onto the roster. But no, excited. And like I said earlier, it's only the 9th time in school history that we've done this. And we didn't play our best football all year, but man, did our guys battle all year. And I think we rise when we play competition. And so we're going to have to do that this week.
And since it's the NCAA playoffs, if you can't make the trip, the game will be on ESPN Plus. So make sure to get your subscriptions, your passwords. You know, it's Tuesday when we shoot this, later Tuesday when you see this for the first time. So find those bits of paper from last year with the passwords. You know, get your friends to give you a link to watch it. If you go to calvulcans.com, Matt will have all the stuff on all the broadcast information, all the pertinent information. But before we finish up the show, Coach, let's take a look at the rest of the Super Region 1 brackets, because a lot of these teams you've seen all year with your schedule. We talked about stuff.
Yeah.
But Bentley going to number 1 Kutztown, Assumption going to IUP, Frostburg State going to Johnson C. Smith, and then California going to Virginia Union. All those games will be at 1 o'clock. But you know, it's going to be interesting. Those are 4 football games that, you know, if you're a college football fan, you definitely want to see, because there's 4 different games, 8 different styles of offense, defense, and, you know, just seeing what's going to happen in the playoffs.
Yeah, good matchups. You know, obviously 3 PSAC teams qualified. We probably could have had a 4th in East Stroudsburg. But yeah, just I'm anxious to see, and you know, this time is got to go play your best football. And if you do that, you're going to have an opportunity to have success.
So that's it for this week, Coach. Good luck going down
Appreciate
south
you.
again. If you can't be there, definitely go down. It's not a bad trip. You get to see
5 hours.
5-hour trip. You get to see there, and I know there's a Roy Rogers on the way down if you go a certain way.
You're
So
a big fan of Roy Rogers.
Big fan of Roy
It's the
Rogers.
second time you talked about
Listen,
Roy
Roy Rogers and Popeyes, man. Last week I was racing half of Pennsylvania to get to that Popeyes on the way back. But if you can make the trip, make the trip. It's been a great ride to watch this team, and you and your teams battled all year. Again, if you can't, it'll be on ESPN+. Go to calvulcans.com for all the information. So for Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. We'll see you next time on The Gary Dunn Show.